Today we're going to be replacing the brakes on a 2010. It's a Kia Rondo. Let me grab some tools and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it step by step. As you can see, we're going to be replacing the rear brakes on this particular one. You can see what kind of condition these rotors are in, and so we're going to be replacing the rotors. We're going to be removing the caliper, and we're going to be replacing the brake pads at the same time. So let me grab some tools, and we're going to get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take out these screws right here. I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to remove the caliper. We're going to take out this bolt and this bolt. We're going to remove the mounting bracket itself, which is this metal piece right here. And the way we're going to get that mounting bracket off is we have to remove this rod right here to gain access to the nut that's in the back that holds that in place. So let's grab some tools and we're going to get started. Okay, first thing we're going to do, we have to take out these screws right inside here. These are Phillips head screws. They're usually pretty tight. What I do is I just get a driver and just hit it a couple of times, nice firm shots, and it breaks the Loctite or rust that's on there. And I just hit it like that. It comes right out. You can use a screwdriver to get it out like this. After you bang on them, they're usually fairly easy to come out. Sometimes they're not. This one is a little bit tighter. I always can get them out just by banging on it a couple of times with a screwdriver. I mean, with a hammer and a chisel, you can usually get them removed. All right, don't lose those screws because we're going to need to use those over again. What I then do is to take a screwdriver and you put a screwdriver in the back of the rotor where the brake pad goes through the caliper, and you just keep slight pressure on it. And that pushes the piston all the way back into the caliper. And then what you want to do is you want to make sure that the caliper slides nice and easy like this. We're going to make sure these slide pins are okay here, which in this case they are. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to take out these two mounting bolts up on the top here. They are probably 14 millimeters. They come out fairly easy. And then we'll just take these bolts out, and we're going to relocate the caliper just until we can get this bracket off. Take the caliper, pull it off to the side. We don't want to leave it hanging by the hose, so you can just hook it off to the side like that. Remember, you want to make sure that these slide pins slide easy. Very important. They have to slide easy, otherwise you're going to burn up the new brakes. Let me just show you this real quick. I talked to you about this before. The mounting bracket where it connects on underneath here. We're going to be removing that bolt right there, and we need to take out that bolt that's down in here. The only way we're going to get that out of there is we have to relocate this bracket to the side so we can get in there. So we're going to take off this nut, and we're going to hold the back of it over here with probably it appears to be like a 17 millimeter wrench. So you're going to hold this one, and you're going to remove that nut, and then we're going to push that stud through, and we're going to put this down out of the way so we can get that bolt out. So let's grab some tools and get started. This bolt on this nut on this side here is a 19 millimeter. So if you have an air gun, you can shoot it off with air. If you don't have air, which chances are if you're doing it on the street or in your garage at home, you're not going to have it. So I'm going to show you how to do it by hand. You just hold the bolt in the back, and you take this nut all the way off. And we're going to need to reuse this nut and bolt, so don't lose it. what I normally do just to make sure that it moves fairly easy is once you have it loosened up, take your wrench out and just tap this just lightly just to push it through to make sure that it moves okay, which it does. All right, now we're just going to tap that bolt out. And you can do it with anything. You can just tap on it and it pops right through. And we're going to need to reuse this bolt, so don't lose it. Make sure you have your washer on it also. Okay, then what you do is take a pry bar or a screwdriver or whatever, and once you have the bolt out of the way, you can just pry this out of the way just like that. And we'll push this down out of our way for now until we take that bolt out in the back. And the reason we're going to do that is we have to take off this mounting bracket right here. So this gives us clearance to get in there and get it off. The mounting bracket itself is also 14 millimeter. So we're going to remove the two mounting bolts on this caliper. Don't lose these bolts because we're going to need to put the mounting bracket back on again. And then we can just take the bracket off and relocate it to the side for now. We're going to need to remove this rotor here, but in this case we don't care what happens to the rotor because we're going to be replacing it. So you can just bang it in the back here and knock it right off. Okay, let me grab the new rotor and we're going to slap it back on here and we'll start to wrap this job up. The new rotor is fairly easy to put back on. You just want to line up these two screws here where you have to put it back through the rotor, and then you can put the rotor back onto the car. Okay, get your rotor on and then reinstall the screws that you previously took out. This holds the rotor in place while you're putting it onto the back onto the vehicle. All right, so screw them in tight, as tight as you can by hand. There's no need to go anything tighter than that. And then we're also going to take this little tab here that we took off the other rotor, and we're going to put this back on here so that it goes right in that hole like that. All right, let me grab the brake pads and I'll show you how to put the brake pads and the mounting bracket back on. So let me grab that and we'll be right back. After we have our rotor tightened on, we're just going to take the brake pads and we're going to take them out. They just pull right out of here. Sometimes they're a little stiff, sometimes not. You can just tap them and they usually come right out. Alright. Then what you want to do is before you put the new brake pads into the caliper, you want to put a little bit of grease on here to make everything slide nice and easy on the brake pads. Same thing here. Wherever the brake pads touch, you want to put some grease on there to make it slide. Alright, next thing you want to do is you want to take this slide pin here and pull it all the way out. And we're going to do the same thing on the slide pin. We're going to put some grease on the slide pin so that it slides just the way it's supposed to. And then we just reinstall it like that. Same thing here. Pull this one, remove it all the way. Put a little bit of grease. And then just reinstall it like this. Okay? And then what we're going to do is put the brake pads back in. And let me just show you. When you take the brake pads out, they have the indicator on the back of the brake pad. Make sure that the disc indicator is in the correct position as compared to the one that came out. And then this one here, it's right here, and it's right here, so it's correct. And this one is going to be your inner brake pad. So you can put your pad in here, and it just turns, and it goes right in like that. On the outer one, you can put the brake pad in. Now you have lubricant on there, so it slides a little bit easier. Now we're going to reattach the mounting bracket back onto the car. We're going to reuse the bolts that we previously took out. You're going to catch them by hand, and then later on we're going to follow up with the ratchet. Do it as far as you can by hand. And we just snug them up with the ratchet. We're going to tighten them up all the way in just a minute. Right now we're just going to catch them all the way in. Tighten it up all the way now so it's nice and tight. Same thing on the bottom here. Nice and tight. Make sure your brake pads slide nice and easy, which they do. And we're going to reattach that bar. Let me grab another tool. Be right back. Okay, now you remember we took this bar out right here. We have to put this bar back in where it belongs. I'm just going to put it up in there, then we're going to tap it. Very easy. And then put your bolt back in from the back. And you may have to just play around with this. You've got the bolt all the way through, put your nut back on it, go underneath the back and hold that 17 millimeter in the back, and then tighten this up as tight as you can. Again, if you have an air gun, you can shoot it on with air, but I just want to show you how we do by hand. All right? And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to take our caliper and we're going to make sure that the okay, then what we have to do is you have to push the piston all the way back into the bore right here. So the way you do that is you put the brake pads in, and you take any kind of a tool that's made to push the piston back in, and you push the caliper piston is back in as far as it can go. Then we just lay the caliper back in where it belongs here. Push the slide pins back in. And then you catch the bolts in here loosely for now. I'm going to show you one more thing before you tighten them. Alright, down here where the bolt goes through the slide pin to hold it in place right there, you have to make sure that this piece of the slide pin fits into that little groove and it's not pushed out sideways. You may be able to see it a little better on this one right here. See right here? This flat portion right here, it has to sit flat into that spot right there. This round part can't be in the way. Otherwise you won't be able to get the caliper. You see that flat part right there? See how it sticks out when it's in crooked? If it's in crooked, it sticks out like that. So make sure that you have this where it belongs, and then it pushes all the way back in where it belongs. Tighten this up, and let me grab a ratchet. Go over one time and show you everything again. Alright, caliper bolts are tight. Both of these are tight. They are lubricated where the brake pad fits. Slide pins are lubricated also, so they slide nice and easy, just the way it's supposed to. We made sure that the mounting bracket, the bolts in the back of the mounting bracket are tight. This one, as well as the one down on the bottom. We reconnected our arm, put the bolt through, tightened the bolt up, and last we made sure that the caliper, the rotor screws were tight, and that's it. We're all set. Now we're going to go to the other side, and we're going to do the brakes on the other side, and we're going to get this job wrapped up. All right, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.